Yo, what up players? My name is Cesar, and today we're going to be going over a Twitch ADC game. I had a Leona support. We were facing a Kog'Maw Blitzcrank. Pretty easy matchup for us, kind of favorable. Kog'Maw's really squishy and he's pretty easy to kill. In the mid lane, we had an Ahri and an Lissandra, both who can roam and push very well, so it's something to look out for. Kayn and Talon both being early game junglers with decent early damage, scaling decently into the late game, something to consider. Top lane matchups don't really matter, so I'm not going to go into that. I'm pretty comfortable going into this lane. I took double ignite. Now this might seem kind of troll, but like I just like combat summoners, and exhaust versus ignite. I think on Twitch having the burn but the passive plus the ignite is just better. And when my support is taking ignite, I feel like they just take more kills. So like I tell them to ignite at the beginning of the fight and I'll ignite at the end of the fight. So that's just something I wanted to mention because I'm not trying to troll. I'm pretty comfortable into this game. I know Kog'Maw scales very well and he's got a really good place in the meta right now, but I know that we can kill and abuse him in the lane, so I'm pretty comfortable overall. Getting in this lane, Kog'Maw and Blitzcrank beat us there, so they're actually able to get a little bit of a push on us, but that's not really a problem because I'm not dying to fight level 2. I know that we can just play safe and like find the engage when it arises, so I'm not forcing anything. I don't want to take any extra damage. I only went the Dorans with the 1 potion, so I just want to go for a good all-in fight, so I'm just waiting for that opportunity. Now I see the Blitzcrank's about to hit level 2, so I start walking back. He makes a fail flash Q forward because I knew he was about to hit level 2. I didn't think he was going to flash, but I just went ahead and spaced him out anyways, and it ended up paying off. We're able to catch a pretty nice freeze under the tower, and Kog'Maw ends up stepping up a little bit, which enables Leona to have the space to go in. I really like how she pinged before she went in. It's really nice to have that communication. I'm a little bit late on following up here, and I get slowed by the Glacial Augment, but luckily Leona's able to get her Q off, and then Kog'Maw has a late cleanse and then flashes even though he's ignited. Now if you look here, if Kog'Maw just flashes before Leona Qs, he absolutely lives and he saves cleanse, but instead he waits, he cleanses, and then he flashes and still dies. That's just something I wanted to mention for you guys because sometimes it's just more worth the flash out even though, you know, you maybe want to save flash. Just don't be greedy. I try to finish the Blitzcrank off with my expunge, but it's not quite enough damage. We end up just crashing this wave and taking a reset. Getting back into this lane, I see the Talon's bot side and we have a good angle on the Blitzcrank. He's quite low, so we go ahead and focus him down because he is the guaranteed free kill. At this point, I'm watching how my health is because I don't want to die, and I know that Kog'Maw has his passive up, so I make sure that I'm spacing properly. That way I can get away from this passive. Now this could have been kind of hairy because if Kayn happened to be in the bush or he happened to be in the bottom side jungle in general, it would have been a pretty rough fight for us. And in that case, we would have wanted to get some preemptive wards to see where Kayn was, as well as fight a 3v3 with our Talon, because I think that is the fight that we do win. We end up securing the first dragon, which is great, as they have kind of a scaling comp, but we scale nicely as well. So in any case scenario where you're scaling or they're scaling, getting the dragons can ultimately like prolong anybody else's power spike or prolong time so that you can hit yours. So it's about 6:42 in the game, and right around this time, Lissandra actually goes missing on the map. And now this wasn't something that I actually realized in game, but it's something that I should have been paying better attention to. Typically, you know, she'd just be resetting with the Ahri, which would make sense. Fast forward a little while, there's a lot of skirmishing going down mid, and I should have noticed that the Lissandra wasn't there to respond. Because there's 3 mid and she's not there farming the wave or helping out her jungler, this is kind of sus. I should have had the read that she was bot side, but I didn't. So I pinged to go in here. Leona misses the E. Now we should back out. We should not be trying to take this fight anymore because we're already at a disadvantage. Leona walks up and gets knocked up. Lissandra takes an E in and actually flashes and W's me into an ultimate, into a blitz hook, and that is just my death, and I unfortunately get shut down there. Now this was avoidable. I did, like, if I have like a little bit better reaction times, or if I'm more willing to use my flash, because like I just don't think we really die here, but I do have a small window right here to flash before the Lissandra flashes me. She definitely still lands ult on me, but it wouldn't be catching me out so close to the enemies, so maybe I walk out after that. Getting back to the lane, I end up trying to crash this wave, but I greed for the cannon, and I actually let Blitzcrank get way too close for me. And now I want to explain my thought process on this. Because I greeted here, and I already can tell that I'm not going to get here, and there's a potential that I die even if I flash away. So with Blitzcrank already closing in on me, I just decided to throw my W down to kind of space them out and slow them down, but then I ult so that I can actually start attacking Kog'Maw before he attacks me. Now, the reason I do this is because I have Ignite, and I think that maybe I can kill him and do a 1-for-1, and a 1-for-1 in a 2v1 scenario is typically always worth for you because you get solo XP for the kill, while the other two get the duo XP. Fortunately, my Leona started pathing down, and I'm actually able to get her to help me out. She stuns the Kog'Maw just before I die, and I'm able to pick up the kill with the expunge. This was a little bit lucky. I don't like this play a whole lot. I shouldn't have greeted for the cannon to begin with, and I also probably should have just flashed away or like try to get away from the Blitzcrank. But I just took the fight because I thought I was dead anyways. A lot of players in this scenario, I feel, would just try to run away and try to flash away and end up dying anyways. So in some of these scenarios, you just want to go ahead and coin flip it and fight to the death. At this point, I have my Kraken Slayer and all of my abilities up, so I'm pretty strong, and I know that Leona has ult, so we walk in, and she ends up landing a really nice Solar Flare into a snare, into a stun. I drop my ult and my Ignite, finish him off with the Ignite and the Expunge, and I'm just walking away because I see that Leona's already dead, and I see the TP coming down. Lissandra isn't able to quite land anything on me, so it's a smooth 1-for-1, but it's worth for me because Kog'Maw died and I did not. Talon looks for a little bit more with Ahri. Ahri's able to catch a nice charm, and they're actually able to pick up the Blitzcrank, which is a nice 2-for-1. Unfortunately, Talon gets caught out here recalling. He was kind of in a greedy spot for recalling. We didn't know they had vision there, but at this point in the game, you just don't want to be risking anything when you have champions like Kayn and Lissandra to come over the wall. I'm not trying to call him out. This wasn't necessarily his fault, but I do want to point this out because this is just one of the times in which our team got caught out, which ultimately led to our defeat. Ahri gets a little bit caught out, but fortunately she's able to run out. Kog'Maw ends up overextending, and we're able to pick up a free kill onto the Kog'Maw, which is great for us. So I see the drag spawning in about 40 seconds, so I'm pinging them back, and I'm pinging assistance for the dragon because I think dragon's an excellent win con for us. It's a Hextech soul. We already have a couple of dragons, and it'd be a really, really good lead for us. Unfortunately, they're just walking around the river, and Talon ends up getting caught out right before the drag. Fortunately, for whatever reason, they don't contest the drag, so we're actually able to pick our second dragon up for free. So Talon's taking his red buff, and we see that the Kayn and the Blitz engage on him down there, so the Jax pings because he wants to go ahead and take the Rift Herald so we can trade his life for an objective, which is a great call. Lily ends up walking in to try to deal with the Rift Herald, but she actually ends up getting herself caught out. Unfortunately, she's got a Frozen Heart and Ninja Tabby, so she's pretty unkillable, and she just runs out with her extra move speed. We end up overextending just a little bit. Jax makes a questionable jump in here onto the Kog'Maw, but fortunately I'm able to flash, and then Leona's able to jump in and finish the kill. At this point it's looking kind of weird because Leona and I have already split up, and now we see that the Kayn's showing up, and he actually ends up chasing down this Leona right here. Blitzcrank misses the hook, but it's still looking kind of rough for us. I end up just kiting my way up, stalling for my Q, and Leona dies, but I'm just able to grab my Q, and I actually like bait this guy's flash for whatever reason, and then I just like run out in Viz, so that was cool for me. So after I shovel wave top, I saw that Lissandra was trying to run me down, and she ends up seeing me. I try to Q, but unfortunately she places a pink ward and tries to drop her full combo on me. Fortunately for me, she's not able to one-shot me, so I'm able to grab a free kill onto her. Now this is the most pivotal point of the game. This is where I think the game is absolutely thrown, and where we would have a really hard time getting our way back into it. Now, the dragon is spawning in 15 seconds. We see the Lissandra split pushing away bot, and Jax is kind of going for a flank angle, which isn't ideal. Like, yes, you might pick the Lissandra before the drag. They both have TP up, but realistically, you probably don't kill Lissandra and she just ease out. So what I think Jax should do is not only be under tower just to catch the wave and maybe bounce it back out, but also not be wasting any time before the dragon is spawning. He's sitting in a bush waiting, which is horrible because ideally he just wants to be on the dragon. Dragon is our win con, and if he TPs right now, we're in a really good spot because we're grouped before they do. We can walk in as 5, we maybe even get a pick. As this plays out, we walk in, and fortunately they're not there. We find the Blitzcrank alone, and we're actually able to force his flash, and we're in a great spot for Dragon. Nobody is there, and I think we can burn it. If Jax just backed up and started TPing right now, I think this fight is secured. He ends up trying to jump on the Lissandra, and she just ease out, as you would expect. And so at this point, I'm thinking maybe we just burn the dragon. I start kiting towards the inside of the pit because I want to get away from their enemies. I throw my W down so that I can hopefully stall them out a bit. We're zoning out the Kayn. Leona gets pulled, which is pretty bad for us because now I don't have any peel, and there's just 3 of us at the will of the Kayn and the Lilia, who are hyper tanks at this point, who also deal a lot of damage. At this point, we know that we can't exactly burn the dragon, so I pop my ulti and start going in. Talon does what he can to try to burst the Kayn, but unfortunately, Kayn and Lilia are on top of us, and we just absolutely get wrecked. And now, after the whole fight is over, that's when the Jax and the Lissandra showed up. Both of them actually were very, very late to this fight, and I think that's ultimately why we lost. If you saw, Kog'Maw actually ends up walking in super late. Like, he's just now getting here after this whole fight is been going on for a bit, and the TPs just start coming down, ironically, in the same bush. I think that if we're here first, not only do we get the dragon and win the fight, but it's like a 5v3. Kog'Maw was late behind the rest of them, so it really would have been a free fight. Dude, Marty. Even if Lissandra matches his early TP, I think we're still in a better place to take the dragon, just simply because we're on the dragon first, we have a better position, and the Kog'Maw walks in late. So unfortunately, we end up losing this fight, and not only do we lose the dragon, and we give Kayn a quadra kill, but now they have a really free opening for a Baron, and so it feels like the game's over at this point. So they grab the Baron, and while they're pushing it down mid, I go ahead and grab an objective bounty up here in the top lane. And because I saw that they were a little bit split up, like we have the Lily at bot lane and we have the Ahri clearing the waves in the mid lane, I think that I'm just going to try to give the inhibitor so that I can get this inner tower, because not only does it give me 600 gold, but it also gives our team the objective bounty, which I would trade for the one inhibitor. Fortunately, we're actually able to trade the inner towers and they don't even get our inhibitor. But Kane's actually able to catch up to me because I was a little greedy clearing the wave. And as you can see, I don't do any damage to this Kane. I try to flash out to try to escape, but Kane is very good at chasing, so he ends up just running me down and killing me. Fortunately, they're a little bit split up on their Baron push, so we're actually get a great engage onto them. I get a nice ult down, Talon follows me up, and we end up picking up all three of them while the Lily is bot and the Kane is mid, so it looks like we can actually get back into this game a little bit. While the other three of them are dead, we actually try to take a 4v2, but we end up losing it somehow. Now, I just want to break down this fight. So I walked in a little bit greedy here, and we're not exactly grouped, and unfortunately, the Leona doesn't peel me. She tries to attack the Kane a bit, and she ends up getting caught up here, and I'm just all alone getting beat up by a full tank Lilia, and that just feels really, really bad. Jax TP's in, but he's a little bit late getting here again. Not the most optimal TP, like he TP's on a ward up here. I guess we just don't have any better TP options for him, which is kind of unfortunate. But I'm our main source of damage, and if I can get 1v1 by the Lily on the back line, then it's just a lost fight. And unfortunately, Kane is pretty able to 1v5 at this point. So Kane's able to win this fight alone and then actually have Lissandra TP in and help clean it up. Jax decides he wants to int, so he jumps back in at 400 health to try to kill somebody, but I don't know, man. It was pretty rough. Fortunately, Lissandra trades back over her life, so it's kind of even, and this was pretty funny. She ends up getting ran down by minions. Like, you think she's going to escape, but the minion just never loses aggro and ends up killing her, which was hilarious. At this point, the game feels pretty doomed, but we know they're going to be prepping Baron, so we actually kind of take this fight, which is actually a really good one. Now, we engage on them. I get some decent damage down, but unfortunately, it's just not enough. They are much too tanky for me to deal with. Kane flashes in on me, getting the ultimate, and the stalling of the fight really just feels bad. And he like I said, he can just 1v5 at this point. I think he's something like 19-3 at this point in the game, so pretty rough. So they end up taking the Baron, but with Dragon spawning, we decide we're going to try to contest it as a last-ditch effort, and we actually get a really good pick onto the Blitzcrank and the Cogmaul, which feels really good for us. Unfortunately, despite my QSS or the Lissandra ult, the both of them come over the wall and are able to kill me. And then, like I said, the Kane with the 1v5, he's just able to absolutely run through our entire team. And that's pretty much the game. I chose to go over this game in particular because I felt that I played pretty well and I wanted to get a more in-depth read on how we lost exactly. And I wanted to see, despite what I thought I did good, what I did bad as well. And also I wanted to see the steps that led us to the loss. And from my perspective, it seems that we didn't contest the objectives enough. We weren't quite grouping enough. I wasn't positioning as defensively as I maybe should have. And my team wasn't really as focused on peeling for me as they should have been. It kind of feels bad because they had the Lilia, who has a lot of move speed, really tanky, hard to deal with. And then Kane is kind of in the same realm as her. All in all, I'm pretty satisfied with the game though. I felt like I played exceptionally well. I saw where I made mistakes and I saw where I could have done better. I could be satisfied in a losing game so long as I feel that I was playing my best and I wasn't making stupid mistakes that I knew better not to make. If you guys have any recommendations or requests, please do let me know. I'm not going to be uploading quite as much on this channel, but I am still willing to do any and all guides and videos for you guys. So comment down below if you'd like to see anything in particular. And other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.